It's time to start your engines and be part of the conversation. You can always ask the experts, Raffi and Dan Rosenberg, because it's now time for Clutch Radio. The show starts now.
Now's when the show starts, in case you were wondering.
Here we are.
Starts now. Welcome to Clutch Radio. I'm Dan. That's Raffi. It's Saturday, June 3rd already.
There's Dan.
This month is flying. There's Raffi. This month is flying by. Good morning, Jacob Angel.
Hey, Jake. How are you this morning?
Angel. Who sings that song?
Oh, that's a good one.
But yes, good morning. We're going to talk about cars today. Earlier
As we
we
do
talked
every
about
week.
where we started. Artist named Dan.
Yes. You know what? We should have a segment. Our listening audience is demanding that we add new content, fresh content. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on a new segment called Cartoons, and every segment will have a song that we talk about that is specifically related to cars.
The problem is we can't play any of them because we'll get tagged by one of the music companies and they'll block the show.
But the good news is we can sing now.
That's true. Adam says good day, mates, and Ray Pepper's here, our favorite dealer.
There you go. Good morning, Ray, and good morning, Adam, and nice to see you guys. Maybe we can have. I wonder, can we talk about the lyrics but not play the song?
Possibly.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Muted just in time. That's old radio skills.
There you go. All right. Well, I've got a technical subject which piqued my interest today. Actually, yesterday, I got the information from the owner who started his car the other day and took it out for a drive, and he was out enjoying it, and he put the top down because the weather was good, and he noticed something.
Mold.
He heard tap, 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 tap. And then when he accelerated, he heard tap, 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 tap. So the tapping increased as he accelerated. Now, our keen listeners who are familiar with tapping sounds that come out of engines will most likely say exhaust leak or valve problem. And these two are certainly the most likely options. Now, the problem is, on his particular car, it's a V8 engine. It's a fairly new car, not a brand new car, but the exhaust manifold itself, because it's a somewhat unusual car, it's a German car, exhaust manifold itself is $400. Now, not the end of the world, $400, okay. But it could also be the exhaust manifold gasket. And the biggest problem is it's almost $600 to remove and then replace that exhaust manifold. And you have to do it even if you only need to replace the gasket. So that total repair, the gasket itself is 100 and change, so not a big deal. But the total repair, because once you've got that off, you have to be pretty darn certain that it's not the exhaust manifold and it's just the gasket, because if you're going to put the old one back on and you're wrong, and there is actually, then you got to do the job again. So really the only way to do this, and I had the conversation with him, is to replace the exhaust manifold with a new one, replace the exhaust manifold gasket. And of course, because you're not removing the engine, hopefully the engine itself doesn't have a surface heat warp problem. And then you put it all back together. But a little note of caution, because many people will buy a car and hear slight tick, 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 tick sound in the engine as it's idling, and somebody will dismiss it and just say, oh, it's always done that. But that could potentially be an exhaust leak, and that will get worse in addition to you losing your best fuel economy.
Now, I find that if I put a little bit of this Blue Devil or some of these other different additives into some of the cars, when I've had weird noises, that does tend to get them to go away. Sometimes it's a very
Yes,
small leak that can be plugged up by these. It basically turns into glass almost inside the engine with the heat.
that's true. However, the type of leak we're talking about is going to
That
be
wouldn't work for that.
post-combustion. Yeah,
Right.
so pre-combustion or at combustion leaks can be cured with some synthetics, but post-combustion on the escape or exhaust side really have to
Bubble gum. Use bubble gum.
bubble gum. There you go.
I saw that on an episode of MacGyver.
Yes, JB Weld also can work.
Just
Yeah, I've actually roadside repaired a blown exhaust hole with a side of the road beer can and baling wire. So
and
it
duct
can be
tape. Don't
done.
forget, Dan says.
Duct tape can, yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Now
can be
Ray
done.
Pepper says he's got a blown head gasket in his 2012 Wrangler that he bought. Will
No,
Blue Devil fix it? It could. It's a cheap way to try. If it depends on how bad it is.
it won't fix it, but it will potentially diminish the problem associated with it. But it's very unlikely. Uh, the good news is that engine replacement is not nearly as expensive as it used to be because there are a lot more engines out there now because people tend to total their cars um, because insurance won't pay for it, but the engines are still very good. And even if you have a car with an engine that has 90,000 miles, you can pick one of those up. You can pick up an engine for less than $500 sometimes. And assuming it's the same identical engine that goes into your car, all the hoses, apparatus, and all of the electrical will hook right up. And even for not a super experienced mechanic, it's a fairly easy job. You do need a hoist and you do need to be very careful because engines are heavy. But for the most part, it's not that complicated a job. And some shops can actually get you in and out for under $2,000.
Wow.
So,
I had no
yeah,
idea you could get an engine for that cheap.
yeah, because again, engines
I
are much
learn
more
every day.
plentiful than before. Even high performance BMW and Mercedes engines can be purchased for very reasonable amounts of money.
Now, when it comes to additives, there are some, excuse me, there are some that are just snake oil. There's a few that used to have infomercials and they'd be like, they always have an Australian guy
Yes,
and he's telling you how great it is. He's put it in and everything's cured. But
everything's
there's also a few different ones I've used where, I've had a tiny little, uh, leak in the cooling system,
mm,
and you put this stuff in, and literally as soon as the car warms up, the leak stops,
yeah,
and it's gone for good. Well, not for good because I'm sure it'll happen again. Leaks happen,
yeah,
but that particular leak is plugged up somehow. I mean, remember they used to have pellets? I think we talked about that. The GM used to include them, and it was like part of the maintenance.
yeah.
Now, Jake says when you say 2K, you're talking labor only, right? Well, if you get a $500 engine, you could probably get $1,500 in labor if it's a swap out to a modern engine that's just plug and play.
Yeah, depending on the for a shop to do an R&R engine, depending on the skills in the shop, uh, generally speaking, they should be able to do it in 2 full days of work, and so that's 16 hours. And
All right,
at
at
100,
150 hours on a low end,
yeah,
it's up there.
it's 2K.
Yeah,
So and so
that's
Jake
labor.
is right. It didn't include the cost or the price of the engine. You'd supply that to them at your expense, or you'd pay that separately. Um, but many shops, when they do engine replacements, uh, the replacement will only be good for, I believe, 90 days. And if they warranty the engine build, then you usually get 12,000 miles 1 year, 12,000 miles on the engine build. If they do the build themselves, or if they do it with a shop that has done the engine work before. The key feature here is in a modern car, you're really not benefiting from rebuilding the engine in your modern car. It's too expensive, and most shops won't rebuild an engine in a modern automobile. They'll just tell you, look, this car has close to 300,000 miles. The car itself is more or less done, and it's going to cost you, $3 to $4 grand for us to rebuild this engine. They'll just say we can look for a new engine and try and find it as a replacement, and then you go from there. But
now, what about a company like Jasper Engines and Transmissions?
Absolutely, and if you look at, like, for example, General Motors or Ford, they sell crate motors, and some of the crate motors are not only excuse me, very they're inexpensive. You can get 350, 400 horsepower crate motor V8. I think I've seen some for even under $1,000, and it's a brand new built crate motor that'll give you 350, 400 horse.
That's insane.
Yeah,
absolutely insane. Now Ray's saying Mannheim wants 15 hours of labor at $105 in parts. They're about 500 with a new water pump for his
yep,
head gasket.
Yeah, and that's right in the money for that. And if the rest of the car is in good enough condition and it's sound mechanically, and things like your transmission and suspension and things like that are all in good shape, it's worth doing, because the car you have is cheaper than a car you're going to have to buy. Now, Ray has an advantage because he can find other cars and take his $1,500, get rid of the one that he's got, and then probably go find something else, but potentially could have a problem down the road as well. So oftentimes the devil in the car that you own is the better alternative if you're going to continue your ownership with it. Interestingly, and I think, Dan, you've mentioned this before, someone comes onto the car lot and says, I've got a 1998 Toyota Camry. It's got 150,000 miles. I don't have any car payments on it, or my car payment is $150 a month. I want you to get me into another car with a car payment for $150 a month.
All right. No, they want no money down, and they want to keep their payment the same. I got the perfect car for you. And you take them out to their car, and you say, there you go, no money down, your payment stays the same.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ray does, by the way, have a Stump Raffi.
Uh-oh. Okay.
If you want to jump into a Stump Raffi this early in the show.
All right, I'll put on my stump cap.
All right, here we go. We're going to try to Stump Raffi.
And now it's time to Stump Raffi.
All right.
I'll be honest, this one almost stumped me as well. Well, I might not almost. I'm still stumped.
You're still stumped. Well, Ray likes to bring in the newer ones, and so I'm going to have to see here. My visual library for the details of new cars is not as good as the vintage ones, but let's see.
It's not letting me show it. Where did it go?
Okay, you're going to have to describe it for me then.
Well, that's not going to work.
Harder.
Hold on, let me.
Well, while you're working on that, I want to remind our listeners and viewers that if you are new to an area and you've just moved in, you're getting to know your town, you're getting to know the locations, you're finding your nearest Home Depot and your nearest gas stations, do yourself a favor and take a visit to your local fire department and your local police department. Just walk in and tell them you're new in the area and share insights with them about your where you've moved from your previous location, that sort of thing. But both police and fire organizations have vehicles, and those vehicles need to be repaired. And periodically, they can't get repaired by their typical service people, so they take them to their local service people. And that's a great way to find out who the best people are to maintain your vehicle. Okay, let's see. Oh, all right, Scott.
Oh, wait, sorry. You couldn't hear me. Scott sent one and said, "Who invented the poke in the eye for the Three Stooges?" That's not car related, but okay.
That's true. I'm going to say Larry. I believe it's Larry that invented
I think it was Mo. We'll find out. So here's your clue.
Okay, here's my clue.
I mean,
Wow.
that's the picture.
That's a really good stumper.
Here's what he said. It was sold only from 2009 to 2015.
Wow.
Discontinued due to poor sales.
Hmm.
Universally negative reception, with critics saying abnormally long hood and awkwardly short back end.
Initially I would say Chrysler Crossfire.
I think you might be right.
That's my guess.
I thought it might be a Saab product.
But the Crossfire had a different hood. And I think the front fender line, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think it had that wide a catwalk. But that would be my first guess.
Shem. Wow.
Shem.
Multiple stumps happening.
It was a Shemp stump. Okay, so Shemp invented the poke in the eye from the Three Stooges. By the way, Scott is too young to even know who the Three Stooges are. Let's see. So I would go Chrysler Crossfire, but the hood line looks a little different from what I recall. Than being my second guess would be a Saab, but I think the grille structure is a little. It does not look Saab-like from my recollection.
And also, I think Saab was done before 2015.
Yeah, that was the other thing. I think they were done in 2010. So I'll go Chrysler Crossfire.
All right. That's kind of what I was thinking as well. But let's see what Ray Pepper says. We do, of course, have to wait for him to tell us because,
Yes.
It's his thing.
Right. And he's probably in the middle of having his breakfast, so he has to put his fork down for a moment.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, the Chrysler Crossfire was from that period in Chrysler's design development that they were really still experimenting with things. Chrysler products. Chrysler has always been a very experimental company, and
we're both wrong.
It's pretty exciting to see some of the cars they've done. Now you're seeing the picture.
You just sent me the picture.
Yeah.
I'm going to let's see if I can make this look a little, see if I can stop and share. I zoomed in a little bit.
Okay. Acura? No.
Well, you're close.
It's a Honda? Wow, that's the Honda. That's the humpback whale one.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
The Cross Tour.
Yeah. Not a bad car. That's not a bad car.
Good stump though, because you got us both.
Yeah. That's not a bad car. That's
Ray. And for stumping us, you win nothing.
Yes. That's actually not a bad car. That's a car I forget about, and I wonder how many they made.
He has it at Stokes. It's available.
Okay. Cross Tour. Yeah. That's a car that, it probably was right for the market, but I think because that was a weird time for the automobile industry, that period, there was a lot of transition going on in terms of technology and vehicle packaging. Half of the automobile industry had not completely bought into the total SUV lineup. And now, as we see, we're deep in the 2020s. Everybody's in on the SUV package, and what we're seeing now, even tall sedans with wagon backs. They're basically SUV platform vehicles, stretched out, tall-bodied sedans. So
now here's some interesting numbers here. They made it through 2015.
Mm-hmm.
In calendar year 2016, they actually sold 726 of them that were leftovers.
Leftovers.
Leftovers, not
Yeah.
leftovers. What am I, Christopher Walken?
Leftovers.
Leftovers. In
Leftovers.
2017, they sold 5.
5.
There were still 5 left. Their
Yeah.
biggest sales year was 2010. The second year it was out was 28,851.
Wow. So, and for a company like Honda, those numbers would have to really increase substantially. What's interesting is that Honda's actually had very few financial failures in their vehicle offerings.
There's the Acura version.
Yeah. Which, of course, is, again, not really a successful car.
No.
You can see why. It's quite humpback.
Very sad.
Yes, it's unfortunate. But Honda continues to make some of the best cars in the world. Honda, Toyota, and you cannot go wrong with a Honda or a Toyota for longevity, durability. Both those car companies make fantastic cars.
If you have a ZDX, you have a super rare car. It looks like about 5,000 total from 2009 to 2015 were sold.
Yeah.
Only 2 in 2015, 78 in 2014.
Yeah, and periodically cars like that are made, like, for example, the BMW, the M3 Coupe. The first one, they often refer to it as the clown shoe because it's got a funky looking kind of
hood. The Z3.
Oh,
wasn't the Z3 the clown shoe?
Z3, yes, excuse me.
Yes, Z3M.
Yes, the Z3M. And it has a kind of a funky roof line to the hood line, which makes it look like those big size 16 clown shoes. But the clown shoe is considered one of the best BMWs made because it's a very, very sporty car, lots of fun. They didn't make many, just like there are a number of other BMWs that they didn't make many of, including the more recent 1M, which is a two-door coupe. There's the clown shoe. And you can see how it would get that name. But these are great driving vehicles. They offer a lot for very little money. And some of them now are collectible because low-mile ones that are well-maintained with good history, they'll fetch top dollar, especially the M's.
Well, if you want to see a nice M,
This
1M.
This is a 1M.
M1, this is the 1M.
This is one of 435 made in Valencia Orange. This is a full option car. It's got some carbon fiber updates, and it is also one of only 900 and change ever built. So it's a very rare car, and these cars are rocket ships, very, very fast. This one's had some updates and some modern technical enhancements to the drivetrain, but this is a twin turbocharged 6-cylinder, 6-speed manual, and this is a low mile example. And these do quite well in the marketplace. They were expensive when new. They were 50 to 60,000, depending on how much markup you had to pay. But they continue to hold their value in the marketplace a decade later, as you can see with bidding coming up quite a bit on this one. And
$56,000. It still has 6 days to go.
6 days to go.
Just launched.
Yes.
This one's going to go for a lot of money, huh?
I think so. And we've got a local guy interested in it. I'll be making arrangements with him to possibly go take it for a spin.
And you have another car up too right now, since we're.
I do, and this is a great car, but I can't believe the bidding.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, the roof alone's worth more than that.
The roof alone is $5,000. It's a Mercedes panoramic roof, and It's the removable hardtop with the full glass top. And boy, what a difference that makes in driving that car. But this is a great car. Dan, you're going to have to bid on it. This is a
I
car
might.
you would love. You would love this car. It's
Somebody already bid.
local.
I would have bid 1997 on it, but it's already over
Yes.
that by $3.
It's a local car. It's been well maintained. Professional woman owned it since I think past 10 years or so. Um, and it's a nice car. It's not a perfect car, but perfect ones sell for $25 to $35,000. But it's a great driving car.
Look at this comment. Every R129 with the pano top should have the top clearly displayed in the main auction photo. Not doing so is the equivalent of having Timothy Dalton on a James Bond movie poster starring Sean Connery.
Well, go to the top photo. If you scroll up to the top photo, so there's the top photo, which shows the top off. Go to the next photo, scrolling down.
Right.
There's the panel roof. I mean, and for a lot of people, if you show it, you're looking online. People forget that you're looking online. If you show that hardtop on, people think, oh, it's not a convertible, and they move on.
Exactly.
So you definitely want to show your hero shot with the convertible top down.
Now this is one where you need the little rope and pulley system to lift the roof off for you and hang it in your garage.
Yes, and that comes with the car.
Oh, it does.
Absolutely. Yeah, the
Oh
whole
my.
setup, including the rubberized bar to suspend it, the lines and everything, and the ratchet.
Hey, there's my paint meter.
There's your paint meter, and it's original paint. Tires 2018.
Week 33, so it's second half of the year.
Interior's in great shape. That's black leather. Carpet's great. It's just a very nice, well-maintained car. The power seats work. Everything works on the car, even the air conditioning. Someone had emailed me and asked if I bought this car and flew in, could I drive it home to Southern California? I said, absolutely. I have every reason to believe that it would make that trip without any problem at all. It's just a nice driving car.
Wow.
Yeah,
This is a good looker.
it is. You'd look good in it.
I like that roof.
Oh, it's great. And these cars are really roomy. So somebody of your physical stature would
Yeah, I'm
be
huge.
very comfortable. You're 6'4", 6'5"?
6'3", and a little change sometimes, depending on how I stand.
How you feel? Yeah.
Wow.
And it's a factory panel. It's not something that somebody added on or purchased later or whatever, but yeah.
And what it looks like they had a good detail done.
Yeah, we had it detailed up a while back, and the owner's, pretty thorough with stuff, got all the records and things, and so it's a nice
Oh,
little.
it was a inspected reconditioned. So that means it was a CPO, certified pre-owned.
Yeah. All the books and stuff go with it, and keys, and receipts for stuff that's been done. It's been well taken care of.
Wow.
It's a good car for somebody looking.
Bonus
And
radio.
yeah, that's the original radio. There's your top, with the suspension thing. And when I arrived there to take pictures, they lowered it down, and we were and it nests into the pockets, and then you hit a button on the dash, and it sucks it down into place.
That's a gorgeous car.
It really is. It's very, very nice. And it's a bid to $2,000.
That's ridiculous.
It is. I guess
And it's
everybody.
no reserve. What happens?
Hopefully, we get more people showing up for it.
I'm guessing she wants more than $2,000 for the car.
Yes.
You would have bought it immediately if that's all she wanted.
These cars range. There's a wide range. I see them sell for anywhere between $10,000 and $40,000, and it's all condition and miles. This one has 114,000 miles. It's not a lot of miles, but for somebody looking, they say, "Whoa, I don't know. Did they have the hydraulic system looked at? Did they have this looked at? Has the engine had any work?" Well, it's Mercedes. if you take good care of high-end performance luxury vehicles,
They
and
take care of you.
it's exactly right. These engines will go hundreds of thousands of miles without a rebuild. So,
Now, if you want to get one of those engines replaced, you're talking more than $2,000.
yes, one of those engines will be more expensive, and it's got more to do with availability than it does with the actual cost of the engine. But I do see them available for around 2 to 3K, depending on how many miles are in them and how well known the history of that engine is. You have to be careful when you buy an engine, mostly because a great deal of them do come from unreputable places that have taken cars apart, let's just say, and sent parts lots of different places to liquidate them because they're uncertain of the origin.
Now, if you
So,
remember last week, very quickly, Ray mentioned had a car that he brought up.
yes.
It was actually a truck. Well, he just sent me this. It will be
Oh,
at Mannheim on Wednesday, 108,000 miles.
this will do
No
very
prior
well.
paint, no frame damage. Did you get
This
it
will,
detailed there, Ray?
I'm sorry?
I'm asking Ray if you got it detailed there. It doesn't look much cleaner.
This will do really well. This is a nice rig. Uh, Lots of goodness in there. And there's lots of buyers that are looking for that.
Yeah. No detail. Wow. He's just
Okay.
selling it raw.
Selling it raw. So that actually may work in his favor because somebody who sees it in the raw might be willing to take a more of a gamble on it and freshen it up. Um, there's a good chance that this would get a 50% upside if somebody buys it for 5 to 7K. This could get up into the teens with a proper detailing, cleanup, freshening of stuff. These regularly sell in the mid to high teens. So hopefully Ray will get most of that money, but there'll be plenty of room left for the next guy.
And if it was a 4-wheel drive diesel, whew,
Oh, it'd be over 20. Especially
easily.
those miles are low for that truck.
Yeah. Speaking of low miles, last week we did not do an old school.
Oh, that's right.
So I want to make sure we get an old school in before we forget.
All right. We can
Do you have
certainly
something prepared? Are you ready to go? I can hit the little button and the little French guy will come across the screen.
All right, we'll do an old school.
Here we go.
Audio Jungle.
All right, it's time to go old school. And this time we're going old school with a car that is very near and dear to my heart. And that is the 1970 and 1971 Plymouth Barracuda. Now, I've chosen the 70 and 71 specifically because this was the John Hurlitz design that completely changed the Barracuda image. Now, the Barracuda had been around, interestingly, as a Valiant option into the mid-60s, and then later as its own vehicle using the A body platform from 67, 68, and 69. But by 1970, the John Hurlitz design utilized the E body platform, which took the B body cowl, the most expensive manufacturing component of the vehicle, and gave it a wide stance. And Hurlitz gave it a clean, overall smooth and beautifully prepared body design that would capture the hearts of pretty much every muscle car enthusiast. You could get the 70 or 71 Plymouth Barracuda in the CUDA model, which was an actual different model. And it came with a wide range of engines from the 344 barrel to the 383 4-barrel. 2-barrel 383s were also available. But you could also get the 444 barrel, the 446 pack, which came with 3 2-barrels, and the mighty Hemi. Now, the 426 Hemi was considered the peak motor for these cars. And if you bought a Hemi CUDA in 1970 with a 4-speed, you'd have a very, very valuable car today. They were about $5,000 new. But if you waited and bought one used in 1973 after the fuel crisis, you could buy a Hemi Cuda for under $4,000 at that time. And if all you did was just put it in the garage, fast forward to today, you've got a $500,000 car sitting in your garage.
Wow.
So the rarest of all of these cars is considered the Hemi Cuda convertible. Now, if you have a 1971 Hemi Cuda 4-speed convertible, you've got what is considered to be one of the rarest and most desirable muscle cars on the planet. That car, which you'd probably have paid $6,000 to $7,000 for back in the day, if you waited and bought one used, found a really nice one, most people knew at the time that they were rare. You might have had to pay $10,000 for one if you went to buy one in the early to mid 80s. Today, if you're looking for a beautifully restored Hemi Cuda convertible, 1971, I believe it's one of 9 that were built. That's one right there, distinguished by its V-shaped inner grille and its what they referred to as shark gill, the venting. It's not real venting on the front fenders. So today that car is priced approximately $2 million to $2.5 million.
Well, the particular one you're looking at at Mecum in 2014 went for $3.5 million.
Yeah, this is
and
one
then
of the.
Got a $4.8 million offer that was not enough to meet the seller's reserve. It had a pre-auction estimate of 6.5 for this particular one.
Now, this is probably the rarest and I believe the most original example in existence. Certain 71 Hemi coupes have been getting in the $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 range. But what's interesting about all this is the same exact car. I believe this is B7 or B9 blue, which is a rare color. It's got the billboard stripes on the side. It doesn't have the body colored bumpers, which is a rare option. Those are A22 if you get front and rear bumpers, or A21, which is just the front bumper that were body colored. If you got a 340 4-speed 4-barrel convertible, still a very rare car, but you can get a very nice one for under $200,000. Now, if you wanted just a nice Barracuda convertible, Barracuda also offered what was called the Grand Coupe. And the Grand Coupe had some nice comfort and convenience features, including leather seats. And a Barracuda Grand Coupe would probably set you back about $80,000 to $100,000. A standard Barracuda convertible with a 318 engine, you might pay $25,000 to $40,000. So there's a wide range of Barracuda convertibles available today. These are not expensive cars to restore. Most of the parts, pieces, and components are available pretty much everywhere. If you were fortunate enough to find a mod top Barracuda or Cuda, you'd have what has to be one of the most interesting cars Chrysler ever developed. And it had, if you remember your grandmother's kitchen tablecloth, that plasticized kitchen tablecloth from the 70s, well, imagine making that your vinyl top on your Barracuda and then taking some of that same material and using it as seat and door inserts for your interior. The rarest mod top Cuda built is a green mod top Cuda, which came from the factory with the factory Hemi engine, and the mod top Hemi cars are extremely desirable. The green mod top Hemi, the one of a kind, was stolen in 2014 or 15 from the owner, and the payout from insurance at that time was over $900,000. There's a green. Now that's a 440. That's a top that Chrysler offered. You could, interestingly enough, get them in 3 different colors. They had mod top green, mod top blue, and mod top yellow. And you can't see it in this photo, but the interior actually has the mod top inserts as well.
Well, that's ugly.
They offered it on the Roadrunner and other Chrysler products as well. And as you can imagine, not many people ordered that, but it makes them rare today. So there you go. The Plymouth.
Carol says he heard Nick Cage stole it.
That's entirely possible. Nick does like kudos.
All right. Well, if anybody has any questions, that's also the thing we like to do. If you have questions about buying or selling or trading cars, by all means, throw it into the chat on whatever you're watching. You could be watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch.
Yeah. Oh, we're on Twitch.
We're on Twitch too. We stream live. That's where we get our friend from Ireland.
Oh, okay. Well, there was a question that was asked of me about a week ago, and I thought it's certainly worth having the conversation in the show in general. We often talk about detailing. And what does that mean? Well, detailing can go a wide range of things. Most commercial detailers will do detailing work for your car for anywhere between $100 and $500. And that swing in price is dependent upon how deep they go in the detailing. But high quality detailing for cars that are particularly needy sometimes involves taking the car a little bit apart, removing the seats, for example, taking the carpet out to do a complete cleaning, lifting the hood and getting underneath the engine compartment, but also taking a few parts off the car and doing high pressure cleaning, and then of course underneath the car doing dry ice cleaning, which just undercarriage dry ice cleaning alone can cost up to $2,000 or $2,500. But detailing for your car is important for a number of different reasons, not just for cosmetic purposes, because the car looks better when it's detailed. And as Dan will confirm, the car drives faster when it's properly detailed.
It weighs less.
It weighs less. But good detailing actually gets after things like the soft parts on your car, like the hoses, brake hoses, brake lines, coolant hoses. And it's important to keep those hoses soft and supple because you don't want them drying out, because that increases the cracking that can occur. It also allows you to take a closer look at the engine to see and locate potential leaks and other things that could be happening that would lead to more problems down the road. So a good detailing actually reveals potential problems or issues with your car. Most local shops in your area will detail your car. Some places, depending on where you live, they'll have the detailer come to your home, mobile detailing services. So the car doesn't even have to leave your driveway, and you can get a professional detail done. I usually recommend that gets done once a year, or if you live in a climate that has salted roads, I recommend that you get the car professionally detailed once a year and have your undercarriage properly washed and cleaned to make sure you remove salt and any other impediments to the drainage in the bottom of your vehicle so that you don't encourage rust.
Now, Carol mentions that the show was frozen for a moment.
Oh.
But then he also said his mom called and he's listening to her, but he sees the show is now thawed and moving.
Oh, good.
So that's good. Ray brought up Carvana. It did triple the market cap. The ship's not going to sink. Bye. I know he bought some at around $6, and he says he did sell and loaded the boat with Peloton.
Oh. Okay.
Are we having another pandemic where people are going to start buying Pelotons to put in their house?
That's possible. Well, look, the car business in general is cyclical, but realistically speaking, what we saw with the pandemic, vehicle use went down, but now people have to go back to work, and not all companies are saying it's okay, stay at home and do your job. People have to go back to work. People are going back to concerts. People are traveling more with their car. And so that's increasing car sales, because car use diminishes the longevity of the vehicle you have. So people will continue to buy more cars. And because new cars are so expensive, the used car market continues to be a great way to get a replacement vehicle for the one that you use up.
Yeah. And, the economy, people keep saying how horrible it is, but the jobs market report came out. Dow Jones jumped 700 points because of it.
Yeah.
Amazing how just do your own research, people. That's all I say. Adam says he sees the tread building in Tacoma is now Auto Trader. Yes, it's been that way for many, many months.
Yeah. And companies like Auto Trader, Carvana, large organizations that need to do volume to sustain their business model, they're just going to continue investing, because the more you invest in systems and sales opportunities like that, the stronger the company can get. Investment is key to growth. And with the car market, there's continued opportunity, not just nationally, but internationally, because we've got vehicles now, electric vehicles, for example, that are now 100% emissions compliant worldwide. So we used to have, well, that's a California emissions car. Well, this car doesn't pass smog here in California. Well, with an electric vehicle, the market opportunity is much more expansive. It's broader now. And so more and more vehicles are being made for worldwide sales. And that changes also market opportunities, as well as the collector car market, because 25-year-old cars from the Japanese domestic market, for example, are now eligible to come to the United States. So we'll see a lot of really interesting and different cars coming to the United States, including oddball stuff like a Suzuki Cappuccino, which is a little 3-cylinder twin-cam sports car. And there are many like that. The Nissan Figaro.
Yes.
Which we could probably old school on the Figaro at some point.
And the Cappuccino. We've got two of those, one of each of those locally now.
That's right. And so these tiny little Japanese cars, K cars, KEI, for small displacement, to meet the minimum requirement or requirement for that classification, the engine had to be, I believe, under 700 cc's. I don't know if that's exactly the number, but less than 1 liter. So Suzuki built that little 3-cylinder, turbocharged 3-cylinder. That's a great little motor. So those cars will be available. You can bring them into the United States. There's a whole group of people that are excited about JDM, or Japanese domestic market cars. Interest in Japanese cars internationally is grown substantially, to the point where even something as common to average people, a Subaru 22B, I think it's 22B, can be as valuable as $300,000.
It is amazing how those, I've never driven a car with right-hand drive.
Oh, you haven't?
I have not yet. And I think I'll get a headache. I don't know why. I know it sounds weird. This is a stupid story. There was a Kmart in Chippewa, where I grew up, Chippewa Township, Pennsylvania. Yep. And in Center Township, they built another Kmart, and it was the exact opposite of our Kmart. So you walked in at our Kmart, and the service desk was here, and then all the registers were this way, off to the left. This one you walked in, and the service counter was to the right, and then all the registers. And the auto center was on the left at ours. It was on the right of theirs, and the little cafeteria everything was reversed.
Oh.
And I literally would go in there and get a headache. I was at my Kmart so much. I was so used to it being this way that it
was a mirrored Kmart.
A mirrored Kmart, which now is, who knows what it is now. They're both gone.
When I was in the UK, I spent about 2 weeks driving on, I'll refer to the wrong side of the road, and with the steering wheel on, once again, the wrong side of the car. And after about 3 days, I got used to it. And within the week, I actually found that I preferred it, because it was not only more efficient for the way you drive, it actually felt more like I was in control of the car. Uh, there's something about being on that side of the road and driving on the opposite side that gives you a better perspective on oncoming traffic and control of the vehicle. And maybe it could be that I approached it as a more experienced driver, so when I caused myself to learn on that side, I was much more alert. But when I came back to the United States and got back in the regular car and driving a regular car, I found that my experience as a driver sort of dropped down to more lazy mode. So that could be. But I found it to be really quite nice. Now, granted, I did drive a lot faster. So there's that. But
Yeah,
yeah, if
that
you've not
certainly
had
helps.
the chance to drive in Europe, it's quite an experience, especially in Germany on the Autobahn. I recommend it highly.
Now, I wanted to share a gas price story since we usually do gas prices at the end of the show,
Yeah,
and believe it or not, we only have 8 minutes to go. And so, if people put questions in the comments, we'll jump on those. But I noticed I was watching diesel and regular slowly hit the mark,
yes.
and they matched, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden the regular went above.
Hmm.
The regular fuel was like 4.59 at the local station and 4.29 for diesel,
Oh,
which is the way it used to be. Diesel was always cheaper, but yet
that's,
at the Safeway right up the street,
yeah.
they're only at 4.17 for regular, and they're at 4.51 for diesel.
So
How
it's
can there be such a disparity? It's disparity. God, I can't even speak.
very. So my guess is, at least in those circumstances, because diesel is offered on the highway station, and trucks can get in and out of those stations much more easily than they can the Safeway one. I'm guessing their diesel volume is higher, so they lower the price, they sell more fuel. So they probably do a higher volume there. Whereas at the Safeway, I think they're pumping, sedans and SUVs, gas-powered vehicles, more volume there. So they lower that price to encourage higher volume of fuel purchase.
All
That's
right. Well, that could make some sense.
But for something is still quite a bit higher than the national average. I think the national average is down in the. I'm gonna go with 339 for national average on.
355 is the national average.
Yeah.
And what state has the lowest?
I'm gonna go with Mississippi.
You are correct again. And what do you think they're at?
I'll go with 319.
297.
Wow,
They've cracked the $3 number.
that's insane. 297.
297 in Mississippi. Yet if you have premium, you're at 370 in Mississippi.
Well,
And cheapest diesel's in Texas at 334.
297. Now in California, I believe it's 570 something now. So that's
California is 486 is the average.
That's the average, but I don't think when I was down there, it was the high fours and some places were low fives, and I think
Los Angeles is 494.
494. So that's almost a $3 spread.
A year ago, 626.
Yeah. The highest I paid for gas was 476. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 576, and that was last year in San Francisco.
Adam says the Costco AM is 409, but the Costco further down the road is 426.
Yeah.
Well, they have to ship it further down the road. That's why.
Yeah. If Norn was on, I'm sure he'd laugh at us for complaining about $5 a gallon, where I think they're paying $7 a liter. So.
Yeah, it's crazy prices over there. All right. Well, we've done gas. We've done Stump Raffi. We've done. Well, we didn't do a car of the week. Ray didn't send us a car of the week. I guess the car of the week would probably be that truck.
It could be, or it could be the BMW that we had.
Oh, yeah.
The BMW. The deal of the week is that Mercedes, if anyone wants it.
Yeah, so here's Ray's. Here's some more pictures of it if you want to see the.
That's a good looking truck.
How it photographed it.
These will go
Gosh.
forever. This truck will go forever.
I really wish it was a diesel.
100 and something thousand miles is nothing.
108.
Yeah, it's nothing.
It's got the CB radio.
Oh, you need that. You need that for sure.
That we talked about last week. I mean, it's got the little baseball cap
Mm-hmm.
and the lights. That's a good rig, as the kids say.
That's a rig. Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Well,
You know,
so
trucks
we'll
in
have the
general.
results.
Next week.
We'll have the results next week.
Yeah, trucks in general. Used trucks are some of the best buys out there because they've, generally speaking, been well maintained because most people who own trucks, they rely on them, whether they're work trucks or they want something that they need to be available and take care of business, get stuff done that needs to be done. They might be a little beaten up in the bed or on the tailgate, but don't be afraid of cosmetics on a pickup truck. You want to check, of course, to see regular maintenance and all that. Don't worry about things like brakes and tires. They're actually not that expensive to do if you buy a really good solid one with good suspension, no rust, nice solid engine oil change history. You got a great vehicle that's going to last you 200,000 to 300,000 miles with no problem. All the consumable stuff on vehicles like tires and brakes and filters and things like that. I always tell people don't worry about that stuff. Don't even think of it in terms of the general use because you're going to have to pay for that stuff anyway. Think of it as buying food to keep your body going. It's the same thing
Exactly.
with your vehicle, brakes, tires, fluids, those types of things, valuable, important to keep up on your vehicle to make it last.
And next week we may be driving in a vehicle.
Oh, okay. Oh,
If
that's
we
right.
get we need an exhaust system for that vehicle. We'll make it a surprise vehicle.
Okay.
It does need an exhaust. I think it's too loud to do a show from.
I think you're probably right. It was pretty loud when it drove up.
It's backfiring a little bit. I think it's got old fuel in it. So I filled the tank with some fresh premium, and we'll.
That's great. And that's actually a good one to do some before and after shots for the detailing.
Yeah.
So that talk about that.
I'll probably take a first stab at the engine. I like cleaning a good engine.
That is fun. I enjoy that part of the process as well.
All right.
All right,
Well, you know what? We don't have to end right at 11 on the nose.
We don't. We can pack it up a couple seconds early.
58.5 minutes. That's enough.
There you go.
It's a beautiful day out.
Yeah, get out there, enjoy it. If you have a convertible, take your top down. If you don't have a convertible, take your top down.
Take your top down.
Had to be said.
There you go. All right. Wait. We have another comment. Oh, it's just Adam saying goodbye. All right.
All right.
Well, we will see you all next week. If you're into movies, Monday night movie show is The Departed and The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. It's a double feature.
There you go.
So you
all right. We'll see
check
you
that out
next
Monday night right here, same place you're watching this. At 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. And now we shall end. And well, we're almost at the time limit now.
Oh, there you go.
All right. By the time it's all over, the old guy washes his car.
It'll be done. It'll be an hour.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.